Hi, family. Good morning, or good day, or good afternoon, or good night, depending on where you are. So, here's what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is that what I've done for Aaron Carter was to get Aaron Carter justice, okay? So basically how this went was this. So what I do is I document things. I'm a documenter. That's what I do. It's just that simple. To make a documentary means to document, okay? And so the problem that we were having when Aaron Carter died was that it was a different narrative that was being sold in the media, and there was a bunch of us who thought that was crap. And so we went ahead and we started working together, okay? And there was like 700 of us. It wasn't like 3 people, there was 700 of us who got together to document Aaron Carter. Because Aaron Carter documented every single part of his life, because he knew that he was being followed by a gang, and he knew that the gang was going to take him down. He just like went slow. You know Sloan Bella? Sloan Bella, she did like 2 sessions about Aaron Carter, and the one that she did originally, it was like Aaron Carter, she said something about Aaron Carter was gonna die within like 1 to 3 years, and I think he died like maybe in the third year from what she was talking about. She knows how to do things with like signs and stuff, and she does it like kind of like how the Farmer's Almanac works. Okay, so from my understanding, that's my take on Sloan Bella. I don't watch all of hers. I do watch some of them, and I do like them because I do like Sloan Bella, and she's a very nice lady. So, okay, so we started documenting Aaron's case November, like after he died, November 5th, 2022. Okay, fine. We documented it. And I was doing it at the time because I had the time to do it, because I was in between surgeries. And so then, but then I knew I was getting ready to have another surgery. And so I had to publish his first documentary and just get it out there and then work on the second one later, because there's so much information about Aaron Carter. You wouldn't believe, well, you would believe it if you were one of his followers or one of his fans. I mean, it would be impossible to document all of it in a written form. Like, it doesn't make sense because there's so many videos of him out there. Now, the problem is that people have things to hide that were involved in his death. And so what happened is they started getting videos of him removed off of YouTube. So because what they wanted to play out was their alibi, which was that Aaron Carter was a drug addict and he had mental health issues. Okay, so from my understanding, there is no medical records from the past 5 years that Aaron Carter suffered from any kind of substance abuse or had major mental health issues, okay? So it's important to document that because there's been evidence that supports that Aaron Carter's murder was premeditated. People who were close to Aaron, who were close to the people that we suspect and allege were involved, okay, had information regarding Aaron Carter's death and the way it was going to play out before he died, before the police got there, okay? What ATM Richie said in his confession tapes about killing Aaron Carter, he knew before the police or the news knew about it. He literally walked out the door, okay, and drove off. And then his mom, Betty, called 911 at 10:58 a.m. Okay. They published information the day prior that Aaron Carter was going to die on November 5th at 11 a.m. Okay. So that was premeditated. There were people who talked about Aaron Carter after he died that gave supporting evidence of a premeditated murder, okay? It is a RICO act. There's no doubt about it, okay? The reason why I documented everything is because Aaron deserves to have justice as far as who he was as a musical artist and what really happened to him, okay? I mean, it's the way that the industry works, okay? It's just the way that the industry works. We're finding out now that, they used the boys and abused the boys and sometimes sexually abused the boys, okay, in order to dominate and control them, okay? Aaron Carter was too good for the earth, okay? That's why death is departed earth, ascended to heaven. That's what death means, okay? That means you're rising up, you ascend, okay? To be in heaven is to be of like a super high frequency. You couldn't even imagine what it was like here on earth, okay? So, okay, now, when I was writing the second book, I found inconsistencies and fraud on the court from what I believe, the homicide detective in Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, okay, LA Sheriff's Department, not LAPD, it's the Sheriff's Department that runs that whole Hollywood area over there, okay? They have a huge Sheriff's Department, they all work out of one and then they just go out. The autopsy report and the description and what was written on the autopsy report, okay, is a public document, and it's what the courts use to process Aaron's death through the court system. And I found, the fans found, okay, because I didn't do it by myself, okay, found inconsistencies of what we caught on film, on videotape, with what was said in the report. And the way that it works in law enforcement is the sheriff is the gatekeeper. You can't go around the sheriff because it happened in that county. And so if the sheriff is corrupt, or if we find fraud with the sheriff, then you have to pull in other departments, because a drowning man will take two down with them, okay? Now, the thing is that they actually admitted to me that they bribed a politician in order to get Aaron's death covered up, okay? That's how stupid these people are. And so anytime that I find fraud in the court system or with a law official, you as a United States American get to report that, okay? Because there's a United States Department of Justice and it has to operate on the right side, okay? That's why they have the scales that are balanced. It's not unbalanced, it's balanced. But because there is so many problems that happen, it's a very slow process. It's not that it doesn't get straightened out, it just takes a long time for things to get straightened out. And they want you to give up on processing it. That's probably why Tupac's murder took 20 years to solve. And so, I think what Aaron's fans, from what I can understand, is they just want what we can get done. Like, the narrative about Aaron being a mental drug addict needs to be supported by medical records, and it's not, okay? So that is a false narrative. And the people who've been around Aaron and were fans of Aaron's and followers of Aaron's, like, you got to remember that, like, okay, Aaron, okay, so like my generation wouldn't know because we didn't have somebody like that. But like, okay, think about it like this. Think about it from a fan's point of view. Aaron started performing at the age of 6 years old. Okay. He died when he was 34. That means people followed him for how many years? 28 years. So yeah, that's like these people who are fans of him or not all of them, but they're like, they've been following him for almost 3 decades. And they know that what happened with his death was suspicious. And of course, we want to think, okay, now if that narrative is false, what else is false about the equation? Like they say bad things about his mom, and it's like, but does anybody really know if that is true? Like, and even if it is, what business is that really of ours? You know what I'm saying? Like what goes on behind closed doors in her home? I mean, Aaron loved his mom. So if you are a fan of Aaron Carter, the child star, you have to love what he loved and you have to stand up for what he stood up for, okay? And it's like, yeah, like when Jane was posting on her Facebook, yeah, there were times where I was just like, wow, she's grieving like all I could think about was how much she must have been grieving because like I remember when my dad died, oh my God, I was like a zombie. I was like a complete zombie. Like I turned my entire home into like a funeral home. I can't even describe how bad I was mourning. Like I had his pictures basically almost wallpapered like on like in the kitchen and in the living room and like in my office. It was like I just couldn't accept the fact that my dad was gone. And like it took me 2 years to finally, like, I was so skinny, I could never eat. Somebody would say my dad's name, I would just like fall apart, man. I would just fall apart. I'm telling you, he was such a good guy, and like I just didn't like the way that lawyer handled my dad. Okay, it was like he put him in an early grave. Okay, that's the way that I felt about it. And so like when I would get so emotional and like, look, I can't even handle it now because that's how much I love my dad. And so like I was thinking about Jane and like, like, so I talk privately with a lot of people that worked on Aaron's case. I talk privately. I talk to everybody differently just because I know like my phones are tapped all the time and like my computers get hacked and stuff like that. But there are ways that I do communicate with the fans and they know that like they have to be cryptic sometimes about what they say. Occasionally I talk to one or two. But like the fans were absolutely devastated by the way that they portrayed Aaron's death. And they also wanted to help Jane in some way, but really didn't know how because it's like the Carter verse. These people, I mean, not all of them, but like the gang part of it. So like in the conspiracy theory from all the evidence that we've gathered, what it appears is that Aaron was gang stalked and then they trapped him and they robbed him and then they drugged him and then they stole all of his items out of his house and they continue to claim his assets through means that are like, well, if nobody checks, you know. But the type of people who commit these types of crimes, they're literally career criminals. I'm not kidding. There is such thing as career criminals, okay? Because Aaron was born into the entertainment family, okay, you also can't blame them part of the time for maybe, you can't assume like everybody knows. And that's why I'm like, it's not that I don't like law enforcement. I do like law enforcement, okay? I love me a man in a uniform, okay? But I know that there's women that work on the force too, but I'm just saying, like, of course I'm gonna want to call a police officer to come over. You know what I mean? It's eye candy most of the time, okay? And so, but no, seriously, I don't feel like every single person that works in law enforcement is corrupt. But if you find something that is corrupt about it, you can exercise that right to document it, okay? And so that's what I've been doing, is documenting evidence. And it's going to cause problems for me. I know that, because the people who were involved in the premeditated RICO Act, they don't want that information to be spread out there, because they're going to be held accountable, and law enforcement will come to their door because they can't not act on those active leads, okay? That's holding the justice system accountable. So yes, I do get attacked online because I'm a truth teller, just like Aaron was. And so, Aaron was surrounded by a gang. There was nothing that he could do to get away from it, okay? And so, unless he had a bodyguard or cooperation from the police, like, basically, like, he was gonna die because they trapped him, and that's what a trap is. Okay, fine. I've been doing this for 2 years, and because there's so much information about the death of Aaron Carter, you have no idea how much energy it is to sort through everything and then pick and choose what you're going to document about it online, because there's so much evidence. Like, what I give you is not okay, wait, realistically, let's say it's 10 to 20% of what really I have, okay? And there's people that have more, okay? And so I do expect to be, because I targeted myself when I went ahead and I said, okay, I'll be the person that will take charge of justice for Aaron. I did. I targeted myself, but who else was going to step up to the plate and do that? I don't think that Jane could, not even emotionally. She probably didn't have it in her. If any of you have ever lost a child, you may have some idea of what she's going through, but you don't. Nobody could. And now she's lost 3 children, okay? Like, I had to put my one dog down because she got cancer from the exterminator who was in my apartment without my permission when I wasn't home, who knew not to be in there, that I had meetings with the leasing office. I had meetings with the extermination company. I'm like, I don't want him in my apartment when my dogs are home, because I don't cage them when they're home because they don't need to be caged. And I don't want those chemicals in there, because when they would spray, I would leave and go stay in a hotel for 24 hours. And then because I didn't want the dogs to smell it because it's toxic. And then I'd come back, I'd wipe everything down. I put them in a bird cage together because it was high up off the floor in front of the window that was open with the fan, while I cleaned everything from head to toe, because, like, I never leave my dogs. I just don't. And so clean everything from top to bottom, and then after that would still take them out, let everything dry, because I would shampoo the carpets, and then would let them out. And so, but Fergie, that was Cupid's twin, the exterminator came in when I wasn't home and left his card on the door, and her paw got into, like, the chemical, and then it started the cancer. And so I had the cancer surgery. We cut it out. But if you don't cut the cancer out by the stem cell, then it just spreads. And it was during COVID, and we couldn't get any doctor's appointments during COVID. And so I had to take the doctor that was available. And he did the surgery, and everything was fine for like 2 months. but then it just came back with a vengeance, and I had to put her down. She was gone in like a week. We tried everything to save her. I mean, you guys know how I am about the dogs. I mean, like, I spent $40,000 keeping a Doberman alive for 18 months. $40,000, okay? $40,000. And when I had to testify about that, the lawyer thought I was absolutely crazy. And I said, yeah, but you don't understand. These dogs, they're like people. Like, okay, the way that I grew up in my household and in my family, my parents treated the dogs like extended siblings, okay? Like, my mom, if a dog got sick, my mom would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to walk that dog out with, like, the thing under the legs to help them out, to get them back in. I mean, she just never gave up on those dogs. And when her dog died, oh my God, she was never the same person ever again. And even though my dad tried to get her other dogs to try to make her happy, just wasn't the same. Like, after her dog died, it was like she got traumatized and she became a completely different person. And so we come from a family of, like, we don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't give up. We're like soldiers. And so, because my dad was in the military. And so, anyway, the thing is things happen in life where they're out of our control. And, like, when I had to put that dog down, I was like, I can't get another dog after this. Like, because I still have Cupid, the twin. And the brother was completely different. Cupid's never been the same since Fergie died. And he's a senior dog, and I have to do special things for him, because he's senior. But I'm fine with it. Like, I love him, But, like, after Fergie, I had to put Fergie down because of the cancer. I was like, I can't get another dog because it's like Heartbreak Hotel. They check in, but they don't check out, And so, not that you can compare having a fur baby to a human baby, but I also don't know what it's like to have a human baby or 3 babies or, or 5 babies and 3 of them gone or whatever, And so, I mean, I just wanted, like, I didn't want Jane to get screwed because we saw Aaron get screwed. You know what I mean? And if, like, the narrative that they're painting about Aaron is BS, then I'm not saying that Aaron Carter was an angel, okay? He did say that he did that, like, air canister thing when he was in his early 20s, and he took prescription Xanax, okay? He had a prescription for it. That doesn't mean that he's a mental case. People take prescriptions because of the food supply that we are given and the water supply. Like, it's just recycled water, and people throw prescriptions in. And so, like, if you drink tap water or you're even showering in tap water and you're not filtering it, that's going to throw your body's chemistry off. And plus, it's also the way that we're made. He had an anxiety issue. And so what? People have anxiety problems. Anyway, so all I'm doing is I'm documenting what I found about Aaron Carter that differs from what, like, if it was Aaron's words. Like, I can understand that people are saying, oh, he was sick a few days before or whatever. Then why did you leave your friend or your client sick? It's like, what was wrong with them? Did you see him, like, as he was dying because they didn't find him for 3 days? That's what it sounds like to me. Who leaves somebody who's that sick? And besides the fact that the autopsy report is a legal document, and we believe that it needs to be revised, rewritten, because that everything that is basically a lie about Aaron Carter, we want to go ahead and put out there, okay, this is their version of what happened, but look, here's Aaron's version of what happened, okay? Like, why don't you hear it from the horse's mouth? Doesn't it seem like common sense that if you have information about Aaron Carter that varies from the narrative that his entertainment family profits off of, okay, if it's different, it's the First Amendment to be able to, it's freedom of speech. And it's not even my words. I'm reposting what Aaron said because a lot of his videos were taken down. And the ones that you do see are the ones that are like, okay, he was falling asleep at the computer. You guys, he was on live all day long. Okay, I have done lives where I was sleeping, and the whole 8 hours I was sleeping. Okay, you guys expect him to be like some kind of machine, like he was supposed to be some perfect person. He was a pretty good kid. He was a pretty good kid, you know? He did some screwed up things, but he wasn't a screwed up person, okay? And so all that we're doing is saying, look, this is what Aaron's words are about what happened. So you can read both versions and decide for yourself. But the legal consequence of having that autopsy written the way that it is affects what goes on in his family's life. And the legacy there on the mom's side is BJ's daughter. Okay? That's what Jane has left, because Nick and Angel left her a long time ago. But the reason why I always say that was Lori Knight that did that is because Lori Knight tried to convince Aaron to be emancipated from Jane and Bob, and that's why they weren't getting along. Aaron and his mom were not getting along at that time. This was like when he was like 15, okay? Or like 11. No, when he was 11, I think it was. 15 is what Michael Jackson. No, 11 years old. When he was 11 years old, he wasn't really getting along with his mom because he had that manager in his ear. Okay, because Aaron was the golden ticket and she wasn't happy with just the slice of the pie. She wanted the whole pie, okay? And I put in his documentary that's free on medium.com to read, okay? And if people, I've said it before, if you cannot afford the copy of War of Angels, okay, and your library doesn't have a copy, then email me what your situation is and I will give you a free copy. Okay, tell me what's going on. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford to buy it, that's okay. I'll give you a free copy. I have complimentary copies that I'm able to hand out. Only a certain number of them, but like I have enough that I'm sure I could cover anybody's request, okay? Because some people can't afford $10 or whatever, and I get that. I've been there many times. And so the whole problem is that Aaron suffered. Aaron was suffering, okay? Aaron was suffering. People made his life miserable because they wanted what he had and they took it from him, okay? Jane Carter is the next of kin until somebody can prove otherwise, okay? From what I've seen about Jane Carter from Aaron Carter's documentary is that, I mean, her and Aaron seemed like they were buddy-buddy, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, yeah, they got into that one argument on the side of the road or whatever. I think it was in Utah. But I've gotten into arguments with my dad before, and he made me get out of the car at In-N-Out Burger in Hollywood, California. And he came back, but he was mad at me because I didn't agree with him from something. Because I was like, why are we here? I'm like, I just don't like California. And like, I was mad. I'm like, why are we here? I don't like this area at all. It was like drugs and like just like street people, but like that was their lifestyle. And I just can't be around stuff like that. It's like dirty to me, you know what I'm saying? And so cleanliness is next to godliness, okay? So like there's just no excuse for like people who thrive in that kind of environment, but that's just low vibrations. And so anyway, getting back to Aaron's case. Okay, so being a journalist, I have the right to document things under the freedom of press and freedom of speech, okay? And I've had to retract things that I posted about Aaron's case that were not true, like when Nick was singing Merry Christmas in the bathtub. Remember that video? This is like going back like 2 years now, but, oh no, like maybe like a year. I said that was from an earlier year, but I was going to take it down anyway because it was in bad taste. And so if you can provide me proof of anything that I'm posting that isn't factual, then I will review it and I will retract it. And so that brings me over to Monique Figueroa's case, okay? Again, I was researching cold cases because they found corruption in that department. If you don't know that they found corruption in that department, look it up. It's been going on since May of 2024. And that is just 4 months ago, okay? They found corruption in the cold case unit homicide, okay? And so I was over there because documenting what Aaron had to say, I also needed to back that up so people didn't think he was crazy by what it was he was saying. Because if they don't have any medical proof that Aaron was a crazy drug addict, okay, and they don't have any medical proof that that's his kid, okay, and there's also proof where, let's say, when you're doing anything in the justice system, judges, they want to see case law. They're not going to go look stuff up. They're not. A judge is the little king in his castle, and the courtroom's his castle, and he runs that, okay? And so the burden of proof is on your shoulders anytime you're prosecuting, okay? So I did case law for Aaron because I need to have that ready for lawyers. Basically, what I did was like a paralegal job. Okay. So basically, any lawyer that reads his documentary will see that I basically told what the story was, and then I supported it with evidence and I published it online. So, yes, the gang is not going to be happy with me. Okay. They're not going to be happy with me. And I understand that. But at the same time, if it doesn't get straightened out, you know who's going to ultimately be affected is that 8-year-old that Jane's in charge of. And like she's already off to a bad start in a way because she doesn't have any parents. And that's horrible. Okay. And so how much do you think Jane should have to endure? Why wouldn't somebody else just jump in and pick up the slack? I mean, it was something I felt I was called to do. So I did it. Then I was over in the cold case unit researching a case about an 18-year-old female who was dismembered, who Robert Durst would carry around in a suitcase with him. Okay, he carried a dead body that was dismembered in suitcases around with him, and would tell people, "Do you want to see this girl that I ate and killed?" And allegedly, the prosecutor for the cold case unit had knowledge of this information and just sat on it. And that's how I ran into Monique Figueroa's case, okay? It was something that they had a reward offered, so I contacted the police. I told the police what I know. I told the police why I think this way. I supported my claim. And then I I submitted that information along with her father's information, and I said, I don't want to say publicly who I think did the murder, because if I'm wrong, that could be a big problem for me. But I will disclose the location, because if you don't look into it, or if I don't hear back from you, then I have to say something, because I don't trust a jaded system. Because look what they did to Aaron. And according to Monique's story, it was that the the lead detective had retired, but in 9 years they couldn't solve this murder, and it wasn't even hard. Okay, I don't want to say it wasn't hard, but I guess sometimes when maybe you do your job so much that you miss things. But if you look at Monique's case, okay. Oh, also, I did notify her dad, and I told her dad, listen, I did publicly say that I disclosed where your daughter's remains were, partly because I don't want anybody to go out there and dig it up until you have an opportunity to dig it up, okay? If you think that your file on your daughter was corrupt, then that means that there was a cover-up, okay? So that means that you need to check areas that were cover-ups in that area, okay? And so I told him, if I'm wrong, I will publicly announce that, yes, I made this claim, and no, they didn't find the DNA. But if I'm right, okay, then I do deserve the credit as somebody who came forward and offered a family healing, okay? And for the gang members, for Aaron Carter to go ahead and attack her family, and say things about me, it's just disgusting behavior, okay? You have a mental illness. This family has been wondering what's been going on. Like, Jeff Figueroa has been wondering what was going on with his daughter for 9 years, and couldn't get any answers. And when I went into the Facebook group and I couldn't get any answers, I called the FBI, okay? Because that can't go on. You can't do that, because that is somebody's concealing something. When you don't say anything, you're saying a lot, okay? But in Monique's case, well, all you had to do really was you had to go from her dad's house to where the trap house was, and then where the remains are buried, and it's a complete triangle within 7 miles of each other. Map it out. Map it out. I mapped it out using satellite. I can use satellite to investigate. It's completely legal the way that I do it. Anybody could do it. It's just nobody does it the way I do it. Just because I go about doing my investigations differently doesn't mean that I'm wrong. If they go out there, or when they go out there and they DNA test the area, that will give them the information about who was involved in Monique's crime, and that was it. Not to go over there and start acting like, these people are suffering a tremendous loss. Yeah, I got mad because I was like, why are you yelling at me like I did something wrong? You asked for the public's help, and like and Steve from AV Watchman asked for the public's help. And I was looking for cases to research, and I can't say that I found corruption on that case. All I can say is that, like, I don't know if it was too emotional and they couldn't look at it from a different perspective, but one of the Facebook posts in her group said that the family was looking to hire an investigator and to investigate Monique's case, and like I investigated it for free. Yeah, I want the reward money, sure, but I didn't charge Jeff Figueroa, and I have a legitimate claim. And the evidence that also my other supporting evidence is with the agents. Because if you're having a problem with the sheriff's office, then you have to talk to the federal people who regulate that. The sheriff's not the end all be all. And maybe the Figueroa family didn't know that that office is under internal affairs investigation, okay? Because of the Robert Durst trial. The lead prosecutor, John Lewin, was found shacking up with Robert Durst's wife in the Hamptons, okay? If he was having an affair with her, that's fine, but it's a conflict of interest for a lawyer to put out a case on, to represent a case in front of a judge dishonestly, okay? So he got demoted and taken out, and as far as, like I said, as far as Monique's case go, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I wrote the thing on medium.com, and I filed a claim for the reward. And if it comes back that I was wrong, then okay, I will say, okay, I didn't get it, okay? I don't have a problem with that. I'm a grown woman. I'll say, okay, they disqualified my claim because of this, and this. But what if I am right? What if I am right? Then the Figueroa family has to start preparing for healing because Monique is coming home and there will be changes in the family because of it. And it's a bittersweet thing because for 9 years, all they felt like was that it was just no hope. And then hope came to them, okay? And to be sensitive to this family, not go over there and like say things about me to discredit me using hearsay, that's a criminal act, okay? For the people that think that they're going to get away with harassing me online or harassing my family or swatting me or anything like that, it's already in motion. So, I mean, enjoy your last day of it or last 5 minutes of it, but you don't have any talent because you don't have any original content. All these people do is repost my work and then they get mad because I contact like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and I'm like, hey, they're stealing my copyright. You're stealing from me, okay? You're stealing. That's a criminal act. When you take my work and you repost it, that's identity theft. You want to be me. Otherwise, you would create your own content, but you don't. You steal my content because you know that my name gets views because I was famous even before Aaron Carter, okay? And so, yeah, I mean, I think it was probably like a knee-jerk reaction when her brother was like yelling at me and stuff like that, but again, maybe they've had people that have contacted them and said things about, oh, I know where your sister is buried, but like was just messing with them, you know? And that's why I gave Jeff, excuse me, that's why I gave Jeff the information on the people that I spoke to. Now, I did not, anyway, so he could verify it, okay? Because I wouldn't want to play with a family's emotions like that. Again, for them, they haven't had resolution on Monique Figueroa. And that's why Stephen A.V. Watchman was so passionate. He stuck his neck out, went and interviewed people, okay, about Monique, which I'm telling you, like, that's a very honorable and noble thing to do, to be so brave as to confront people that were, you know, who had direct knowledge about what happened to her. And still, it's the thing is with the missing people's cases is no body, no crime. And so if there's no body, then there is no crime. And so they can't prosecute anybody until they find Monique's remains, okay? And if they don't want to prosecute and they just want Monique's remains, then they said that the dad said that all he wants is his daughter to come home. That's it. He wants answers and he wants resolution. Maybe he won't prosecute. Maybe, privately he'll just deal with it. But like they deserve to have closure and not people running over there giving them misinformation about who I am or the work that I do or my character, okay? That is rude to attack their family at a time where they believe that, okay, they did hear from Los Angeles Sheriff's Department that Monique's case is closing, okay? They're getting ready to close it out. That means that they're going to get answers very soon, okay? And that's for them. That's for them. And that's what I'm saying. Out of respect for the family, I apologize for my knee-jerk reaction, but like I was being targeted and like people that were following Monique's case, they were yelling at me and I only did what I did out of the kindness of my heart. That's it. You know what I'm saying? If I get reward money, hey, it'd be a bonus, but like ask anybody who knows me. I do what I do just because I wanted to clear Aaron's name or my name, or like it's very harmless work in a lot of ways, you know what I'm saying? But it did turn deadly with Aaron Carter's, and I don't want that to happen for the Figueroa family. I hope I did help them out in some way. But with that said, I mean, there's nothing more to say about that until I get the results of what happened with the information that I put out there. And if I'm wrong, I will say so. I will say so. I'll say, hey, I tried it and it didn't work out, but, it was an A for effort, okay? But until I get confirmation about that, then nobody else solved it yet. Sometimes the detectives are too emotionally involved to see like the very simple things. But why wouldn't I think that the they say, oh, a car ran off the road. Maybe that's where Monique's car ran off the road, okay? Somebody died because of a car accident, and Jeff Figueroa said that it looked like her car was ran off the road, okay? And the materials that were being used at that memorial site were the same materials that were in the trap house where her car was found, okay? So there's other evidence over there besides what's beneath the ground. So that's why I said if Jeff Figueroa, the dad, AV Watchman, the guy on YouTube, AV Watchman United We Stand, Steve, and he can film it while Jeff and the doctor who invented the DNA sniffing machine can go out there, because even like the materials that were used for that memorial site would have DNA on them, because they knew when they were hiding the body, digging the body that far down, that a cadaver dog probably wouldn't smell it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It depends, because it just depends on the cadaver dog. They really vary. I mean, you can get them that can smell 15 feet down, but I don't know what they're using. They didn't dig in the right places. So and then what I would do is I would ask the police to search that memorial site and dig down there and do DNA testing on what they find. But if they don't agree to do that, then I would still do it, but I would have AV watchman filming it and the doctor with you, because at least you'd have it documented and recorded, and then you could do your own investigation. Because like, if the police aren't doing their work the way that you believe they should be doing it, then you go ahead and do that and present the evidence to them. Sometimes that's the way that it has to work. Sometimes they have to be forced to do it in a way, even though it shouldn't work like that. There could be many, many reasons why that case wasn't solved. I don't know, okay? But I don't want to continue talking about it, because the only thing I wanted to say was, please, 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 please stop bothering that family, okay? I've made my intentions clear. There was nothing wrong with what I did, and to go over there and to harass them, it's wrong. And that's something that you're gonna have to start working on your, north node, your shadow side, your dark side. There's no reason for somebody to be, there's no reason for anybody to go over there and hijack their group about a female who has been missing for 9 years, okay? A death has occurred there. It's not a time for anything except for seriousness at that point, and be respectful, because they're still in mourning, because they haven't had closure. They deserve closure. So that's about it. Now I have to deal with the court system again, because I have to do it. I have to go through the paperwork, I understand the people that are, in the gang. And again, Aaron's case is a RICO act, okay? Until they're not going to stop. That's the whole thing. Like, Melanie is not going to stop as long as she can keep going, okay? And it's my opinion that Melanie brought in the gang, okay? Yeah, Spencer was part of it too, but it was Melanie who let everybody in that house, okay? And it was a premeditated murder, okay? So again, read both. All I'm saying is you can't judge my work unless you read it, okay? And if you're still upset and bashing me, it's because you were in on it, okay? It's a very large operation that took Aaron Carter down. It was not just one person. It was an entire gang. 50, 56 people, 60 people, that many people were involved, okay? So I'm used to people running from accountability, and that's when adversity meets up with that. So people who want to harass me or abuse me because they feel as though that, I shouldn't be saying the things that I'm saying, it's because they're guilty, okay? Because they never have proof to back up anything, and they're just running from the law, okay? Let them run from the law. I don't care. I work with law enforcement, so I'm going to stand in my power, stand in my truth. I believe everything that I'm saying is to be my truth. I can testify in a court of law about that. I can testify in a court of law that they admitted that they bribed a politician in regards to the death of Aaron Carter. Okay, so if I have confession videotapes and I have a written confession, then why wouldn't I turn that into the police? If it doesn't get straightened out, some illegitimate child is going to end up with what Bella rightfully should inherit, because that Uncle Aaron was Uncle Aaron. That is his blood. If he had other kids and they're up for adoption and they don't want to get involved, okay, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay, no problem. You had a kid with Aaron Carter, or you didn't have a kid with Aaron Carter. Like, if Randy Lynn wants to say that she was pregnant with Aaron Carter's baby, then that's her truth, okay? You don't know if it's true or not, but that's her truth, and she has the right to speak her truth, okay? And I feel like, this is a big problem, because what happened to Aaron, and then they chased his mom off of social media, and then they're trying to chase me off of social media. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to have it. I know that I'm dealing with somebody who has a mental illness. And for that reason, I have to notify the court system, okay? It's sometimes I attract the crazies, okay? But at least I will have it on file that the court deemed this person mentally ill and that they won't be able to continue to harass me like they are, okay? The people that, yeah, okay. So anyway, I'm just saying, please be supportive of other creators on my channel, okay? And I know that, I know that Melanie has had people like, it's basically, okay, so listen to this, all right? ATM Richie in his confession tape said, me and his girl did it, okay? ATM Richie advertises that he's a hired hitman and he works with Sony, okay? At the same time, Check the Star and Big Mike advertise that they're hired hitmen, okay? Big Mike is dead after he went to go talk to the police about Aaron Carter, okay? That's one of the reasons why the feds wanted to talk to me, because they were like, okay, well, who did you talk to now? We need to know what's going on, because now we got to keep track of you because people are dying. Because remember, Gia Lovely died? Okay. So basically, Melanie hires hitmen, okay? So that Katie Wallace, she was a hired hitman, okay? She came into the lives, and basically what happened is she was promoting Mel's Love merch, okay? Because she worked for Mel. Hello? Okay, I knew what she was doing, but I needed information out of her too. And Katie Wallace was the one that said, Betty took the photos. Betty took those photos, okay? And then she gave me other information as well. Like the house was busted up on the inside, okay? Something that the homicide detective did not write in the report, okay? And so she gave information. And then when they found out that she gave information not only on Aaron's death, but on Nick Carter's sexual assault cases, because she had the signed bras, okay? They went after her for being a double agent, but Katie Wallace was a hitman. That was a hitman, okay? The other ones too that tried to do it to me, okay? I did go to court to get a restraining order against Katie Wallace. I told you guys that. And I could have went back a second time, but then I was like, it's just not worth my time. They're delaying me in writing Aaron's book, but I can't have them delaying me writing Aaron's book. I'll just go on live, and I know people screen record this, okay? So it's even better than me having to do anything, really. I told you, all of Aaron's evidence is already on YouTube, okay? I do the best I can to file it for you. So if you even wanted to watch my lives, I tell you everything that happens in the live. What didn't we go over? Melanie had no right to, has no claim. She has a claim. She claims that Prance is hers and Aaron's, okay? And so far, there's been multiple proof that it's not true. So, yeah. The police need to know that, because she's over there in court in line to cash in on his name, okay? So, as far as like charging people with murder, I mean, again, there was like, I think it was like 56 people. It's either 56 or 60 people that were involved, excuse me, in Aaron Carter's death, okay? So the gang is big. Yeah, we give you their obvious I posted the BSB gang stalker information in the demons chapter, and it's free on medium.com. But there's like a lot of them, and they even have people that work on the inside of Instagram, inside of Facebook. They suppress anybody using his hashtags. That's why I try to use other hashtags, because they're looking for using their media family as their evidence backup. And that's why I email the lawyers all of the other evidence that I've gathered. And again, like I said, hey, I'm a reasonable person. If you read something that I document, then, and it's wrong, after, you read it online after I post it, just contact me, shatteredwindows7@gmail.com. I put my email in every description, so you can contact me. I like to talk by email because it's traceable, and I have, I want to be able to trace back even from a VPN from my email. So whoever I'm talking to, it's traceable. And so, yeah, I have to go to court because I'm pressing charges, okay? And I understand that people think that nothing is going to happen, and that's fine if nothing happens, but I'm going to make you come along this journey with me, and as we journey together into you finding out that you can't be harassing me like you are online, okay, or trying to go ahead and defame or slander me, you're going to find out as well. I'm not going to be on this journey alone, okay? The police will be coming to your house, and you will be notified with legal papers. They're coming, okay? So enjoy today, but this is en route to you. When it happens, I don't know. Is it going to happen? It's going to happen. I didn't go back and do it again with Katie Wallace, although I could have, because at that point I was kind of like, well, I kind of understand her wanting to say that I was a liar because she like ratted out her friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was the one. How is she calling me a liar when she was the one that said on video during my lives when I was interviewing her, when she was a co-podcast, okay, that Nick Carter grabbed her tit, she was barely of age, and her and Kevin signed it, okay? So whether you want to go ahead and believe that's a sexual assault or not, basically what it was doing was proving what they do after their concerts, and that was supporting evidence for Shea Ruth. And so that's why they had to take her down completely, because her evidence was very damaging to Shea Ruth's case, which alleges that she was sexually assaulted after a Backstreet Boys concert. And here I have evidence on video of that actually happening. So of course she's going to go ahead and be like, oh, she's a liar, and this and that. But what am I lying about? What am I lying about? Tell me. Tell me what I'm lying about. I'm telling you right now that if I have printed something or misrepresented something and you can show me how to, I will be reasonable, and then I will change what it is that I'm doing. But until that can happen, you're just somebody who needs to have a medical emergency. You need medical attention. You need some kind of an attention. You're seeking attention somehow, because like every time you guys do that, it's like a cry for help. And so I feel as though that's a medical emergency. You're in need of medical attention because what you're doing is psychotic, okay? So we're gonna get that. Help is on the way for you. Okay, we're gonna make sure that you get the help that you need. And I'll still be here standing in my power, speaking my truth. My truth is that Aaron Carter was murdered by a gang. Okay? That's what my truth is. And I'm going to speak my truth. If you were involved in his death and you could be charged by law enforcement, then I understand why you would tell everybody that I'm a liar and not to believe me and that I'm crazy. But you don't have any proof, and I always do. So they see what I see. That's why they will quickly cease any communication with you, because, again, a drowning man takes two people down with them, okay? So that's it. I'm still working on Aaron's book, but I have to work with law enforcement because I can't have people attacking me or my brand, okay? I'm an author, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? You don't like the way I look? Okay, hopefully you like the way I write, okay? Because that's what I do, that's my gift. So, and if you don't like it, it's okay, you don't have to read it. But you know, I get it because, like, I'm different, you know. I do things differently than other people, but I'm successful at what I do. And it's a shame, but, you know, I guess I've leveled up now that I have to, you know, go back to court. They don't stop. They're not going to stop unless it's court ordered. So I have to do this, okay? So there won't be no comments on my videos because you are making yourself a target. So if you are targeted by somebody who talks about my name or something like that, please just delete the comment. If it's on a different platform, please, I'm begging you not to engage with these people. Please. It's not a joke, okay? Please. It's bad. And it's best for you not to get involved. I'm going to have a little bit easier of a time because I have more resources because I've had to do this before. But again, I put a delay on serving Katie with papers because I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, but she didn't learn from it. And the other people that are harassing me as well. And then I will post that online because I need to protect myself. And yeah, I let Katie go the first time, but I'm not anymore. So there will be multiple restraining orders that are issued. And again, if you want to send me anything about it, you know my email, okay? So that's what's going on. And I hope you have a great day. Namaste. Bye.